Howdy, beloved. Ye who are joined with us in the thought of it. I mean, that's a good kick because a lot of folks have always wondered what it was. And they say, it rains. Ain't that weird when you really think about it? Folks don't say, he rains. And then, Mother Nature, they don't say, she rains. They say, it do. It rains, ain't that something else? But sometimes I'm glad it do because, folks used to, really, they did this. Folks used to pray to God for rain, and now they call Washington. Oh, it don't make no difference. Some folks are Democrats and some are Republicans. And then there's liberal Republicans and conservative Republicans and liberal Democrats and conservative Democrats. But the only difference I see in between them, is there's something watching both of them operate. There you go, beloved. That's us. Now, that's pretty strong. I mean, some folks will do anything for a vote. But actually, though, there's not a bad politician in the whole United States of America. I want you to know that, beloved. Somebody says, oh, he's crazy now. Oh, Brother Dave's done lost his mind. But you see, I mean, it's a good thought because actually, if you went to this is generalizing, of course, naturally. Generalizations, that goes. Say a Democrat is somebody who expects something for nothing, and a Republican is somebody who expects nothing for something. And an independent is a cat that greases his own car. Well, it don't make no difference. Politics is all funny to me because, it's folks trying to express themselves in their own light. I mean, that's one way to look at it, and a lot of folks are saying, my goodness, there's so many unemployed. That's true. It's just trash that don't want to work. My friends, that's right. I mean, you take some of them folks, man, and pay them a little bit more, and they say, don't do it, man. They'll take me off relief. I know we's on relief. Yes. That's right. And we lived out there in Tennessee, just poor, ignorant, trashy. We didn't have any electricity. We didn't have any TVA or anything like that. And so, we couldn't read by, just candlelights because there wasn't nobody that even knew that much about Lincoln anyway. And like I said before, I ain't never thought too much of Lincoln because, he said honest Abe Lincoln of Illinois. You see, he started out lying. See, he was from Kentucky. That's where he's from, that scamp. Scamp for Abe. The reason he grew them whiskers, man, is because, he had little old moles on his face, and he didn't have no, what you call it, dermatologist or nothing other, to go cut them off and bottle them for posterity. Well, anyhow, it's all on how you look at it and study it, and folks have got all kind of things going, I just love the celestial and happy sounds and good things, and if you're always hung up in good things, how you gonna find something bad? See, good and bad are relative concepts, dualities. Say, what is a duality? A duality is like hot and cold, love and hate. See, heaven and hell. Ain't that weird? I never thought I'd ever say that word unless I become a preacher. Actually, I am, Only difference is, you see, is I'm preaching for it. Now, here's one for you that's really tough, friends. This is a bird. I'm telling you, this is a wild stroke. If somebody now did the best to their conscience and understanding and well-being to the best of their ability to live out their philosophy of life to what they had conceived and found and experienced to be the truth as far as they could understand it, and then they died and went to hell, who would they cuss? got her own kick going, and that's half of it. The other half is thinking about it. And the third half is actually getting it done. Now then, as we move into this new age, they have actually taken us to a recession, to a depression, man. And a cat sitting there with 2 compacts and a Cadillac and a whole freezer full of some kind of old animal flesh. 14 cases of beer. And man, these cats are telling you about how bad it is. Well, it don't make no difference. Actually, I was for both of them. Get in with all them politicians, you're a Southerner, you got to be a Democrat. Said, no, I learned how to read. Look, I ain't neither one. I'm both of them. Yeah, that way I can get a better balance, see? If I were bound by either party, well, then I might forget America. They're all talking about what's wrong with the country. There ain't nothing wrong with the country except in the city. Here's really a crazy thought for you, though, because, you know, a lot of folks are talking about the beat folks, and beat folks are real good souls, see? In other words, they're seeking poverty to learn from it. Yes. It's like somebody that has severe pain, rather than taking some kind of a sedative or some kind of a wild, crazy pill to numb out the body to where this ache is. They just all of a sudden just realize that that pain is there, and they start talking to it. Before long, they've made such good friends with that pain that if the pain leaves them, they'd be bugged. Of course, I mean, it don't make any difference. I've been up north, and I've been in the east, and I've been in the west, and I've been in the south. And everywhere I go, there's people. And that's always good to know, because one day when there ain't no people around, the folks that ain't made friends with animals is going to be awfully lonesome. That's one to think about. And listen, some of you like to hunt. And I ain't putting you down for it, even though I told you that it ain't right to render the animating force out of an animal with some type of a weapon as a gun unless the deer is trying to attack you. There ain't no sport in shooting a deer, man. Them things look at you just... I mean, if you're a real country boy, you want to kiss it. Yeah, make friends with it, let it say, hey, baby, and grab them horns. If you do like to go hunting, no, really. If you like to go hunting and you want to go deer hunting, don't ever make the mistake of taking your little boy. Because you're going to go down there to the sporting goods store and buy yourself one of them little boats, you know, with a little engine on the back. One of them little squeaky trailers, you know, in the station wagon. Then you got to get a sleeping blanket. And then a whole bunch of other equipment, probably end up in a motel. But anyhow, all that camping equipment, just thousands of dollars worth of it, and all these kind of precious guns and things that these Smiths have cut out of this here crude steel. Just on that thought, do you realize if it weren't for Bessemer, we'd all be driving around in cast iron automobiles? Or Gary, they had it about at the same time. Anyhow, get out there and get a bead on this deer. And just get him in sight, little old boy said, Papa, you ain't gonna shoot Bambi. $7,000 worth of equipment, you just flush it, man, because you can't get nothing for it. Don't make no difference. Don't make no difference. Just like everybody's looking for it. Somebody said, where is it? Somebody says, I don't know. Somebody else says, well, that's closer to knowing than the cats that think they do, because by them that say that they know, they pin it down, and that crystallizes it and puts it into a joint where somebody's hung up in limitation. They say, well, if you got it nailed down, then what's all that around it? Ain't that weird? Ain't that a happy thought? Man, I'll tell you, I believe in it. I believe, beloved, that the mind is beautiful, and I believe that we can think about a whole lot more than we can get. Yes, yes. Hey, did you ever go in a supermarket yonder and go in there and drop something in somebody else's basket and then watch your face when they check out? Do that in New York during Passover. Drop a ham in there and watch your cats flip. Oh, y'all, it's too much. You know, this is joy untold. Said, what is an untold joy? Said, it's a joy untold. I don't know about that. You know, I mean, some folks talk about that one way and the other, and a lot of folks are talking about politics, you know, and say that we go and think about Cuba and all this kind of trash. Don't you know that the Mississippi National Guard could take Cuba in a flat-bedded wagon in 20 minutes? That's right, so don't worry about it. You know, it's folks stirring up all that hassle, you know, because they want us to create another Hungary, you see. When David was in, of course, you know, with Kennedy, they might talk another story. But, yeah, you know, they'll get to talking to him, and he'll put all that old talk on the head, and old Khrushchev will pound his fist, you know, and run around with them little beady eyes. I don't care nothing about Khrushchev, man. I ain't afraid to tell it like them other cats treat him light, you know. But I never met the stud, man. Don't care to. That's right, he's a socialist. You realize that? I mean, I ain't knocking his kick, see. But I don't want to stand in line, friends. No, man, that's right. But this is just a good thought, because they would like for us to create a Hungary by going into Cuba, you know, and just say blah, 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 and hurting all them folks. But that ain't it, friends. We got missiles that'll go 9,000 miles right on target. Blip. Then we got missiles, you know, that'll go 1,100 miles from a submarine. Right on target. Blip. Do you realize we're going to have to fight Cuba with clubs? We ain't got nothing that'll hit that close. Hey, imagine this. Wouldn't that be weird to take one of those big atomic submarines and have it go up under the polar ice cap, and, you know, then there would be an alert. That missile would go up and hit in there, and it'd go. I'm thinking about opening up a new insurance company, and we're going to insure swimming pools against theft. Did you ever try to steal one? Actually, I don't believe there's any such thing as a mistake in that sense, or even an accident. See, I don't go along with accidents. I think it's premeditated carelessness. There you go. Tell that to somebody that don't care. You know, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but it's a wild thought. I figured if I ever did figure out what I was doing, I'd probably go hide. But it don't make no difference, friends. You know, it's all good. It's all good. Population control is going to be a big thing. They're going to be screaming about it. They're going to be hollering about it. Some people are going to be for it. Some are going to be against it. Actually, I'm for and against it. That's right, because I believe if you're against it, you're going to be for it. And if you're for it, you're going to be against it. I only got one thing to say about it, beloved. Wonder, really now. This is one of them there soul-searching thoughts. Wonder how many of us are mistakes. I know I was. But population control is a good thing to talk about with somebody else. But I'll tell you one thing, beloved, I just thank God my parents was ignorant of it. So anyhow, you know, looking there just as serious and studying, you know. And thinking about it. I smoke cigarettes because it's a Southern product. Oh, Jim Hardy, he's a flip. He says, I smoke pale male. That's my cigarette. Light them on both ends. Smoke them in the middle. Tear it two. Got two little ones. All right. So anyhow, if you think about it like that and study it and really wonder about these different things, you know there's a north and south all over the world. All over the world. There's northern France and southern France. Northern Germany, southern Germany. Northern Germany, they talk like New Yorkers. They say, Dankeschön. Southern Germany, they say, Dankeschön. Yeah, ain't that weird? Yes, and then you can just look at everything, just smile, just knowing that trees are trees to us. But wait a minute, to birds. To birds, trees might be considered home. Oh, beloved, don't that kind of grab you? Little old birds flying up there, you know, nestling in their homes. So here comes a bunch of logging camp cats. And they come up there, boom, jump out and grab their can hooks and everything and all their saws and blah, 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 blah. Automatic saws now, you know, they don't pull a great big long cross cut except on the big fat trees. And so there was two groups of these timber folks, you know. I guess you'd call them timber jacks, you know. Ain't that wild? But I'll just call them lumbermen, you know what I mean. And they're out there, you know, and they're sawing these trees down, and one group gets too close to the other, but they're not aware of it. But the little bird's aware of it because he's up above it and he can see it. And he sees this great big tree falling on these cats, and he says, home, home. He didn't know how to say timber. Ain't that weird? See there, if you'd have got yourself 2 albums, you wouldn't have had to got up and change your machine. Wouldn't it be wild if that chimpanzee come back and say, well, it was sure nice up there. So I'll tell you what, it might be a good thought to do something other from some of the other albums, because some of you never saw me do any of it, you know. Really, some of you have, and some of you ain't. I prefer that word rather than arsn't. I'll tell you one thing, friends, anything that you're doing now that's not leading you towards your desired goal in life, then what you doing it for? Go on, come up with them excuses. One of these days, forget that. I believe if everybody excelled to the heights of what they enjoyed doing the most, and some of you said, well, that's all they'd end up. No. It's not on that plane. Oh, joy to the world. There's many ways to experience life. Now, yes, experience it to the fullest. Know that like somebody says, well, then you a preacher, Brother Dave? Is that what you are? You a preacher, ain't you? Yet you've been bad-mouthing the preachers all the time. No, I hadn't. I just been telling them so they'd get aware of their calling. There you go. Preachers got their own kick going. And politicians have too, and lawyers have too, and doctors have too. See? And all 4 of them are together against us. They have a lot of times in a lot of schools, 11 o'clock curfew. With 11 o'clock curfew, how in the Lord they gonna ever learn anything? Be old and gray. Well, anyway, just a short shot here about population control, because I don't want to leave that hanging. There is folks that's for it, and there is folks that's against it. And then there's neutrals. They just don't care what they do. They figure evolution will take care of itself, as it always has. Then there was folks here before we were, and I'm sure they'll be here when we're gone. contrary to the depressive thoughts that some cats say, oh, they're going to take one of them bombs and go. But I mean, that way we'd all go together and maintain our same position. Wouldn't that be weird, like you see these pictures, of an old truck driver or something, and he gets driven out of his frame. See, your body's your frame that you're housed in, encased. And it shows him up there playing a harp while he never had a lesson. Like the thing about higher learning, and that's why I love to work for school audiences, is because it's good, colleges, is because there's one thing that I've learned about higher learning, and that's to get high and learn. Get on that kick. Instead of going there at end, exams and everything, going in there and seeing a friend and say, lay some of them up-me pills on there. That lifts and cerebral stimulates my skull, pumps my heart a little fast, my eyes can get glassy, and my mouth get dry, and I know it's high, and I can do 14 months work in 30 seconds. I remember way back there, see, this is before Franklin D. got in, because, they're bringing him up a lot now. But out there, when we did that, really, we got these garden seeds and these tomato plants, and we didn't have nothing to eat way back there. We went and we planted these seeds in a little a hotbed, what they call it, different. Yes, it's a little old, square box with some soil in it, and then, you keep it warm inside the house, till it grows up a little bit, see. And man, trying to keep one of them things away from the cats. They can climb up Italian marble, man, if they have to go bad enough, So we finally found a good stash for it. And them tomato plants, man, just grew on up, and we went down there and got us some barrel staves off the IC Railroad. And split them, and then we got some toe sacks and unraveled them, see, and tied them maters up against there, set all them plants out, in that good, fine bottom land. And just as the tomatoes were ripe and luscious, you're really not supposed to pick them green, because it hurts them. You see, you can't become sensitive until you become aware of coarseness. Tell that to a dog catcher. Well, anyhow, it's something to think about, though, and we had a Sally Miles salt shaker. Now, some of ye, and the reason I say ye now and then is to keep from a repetition of y'alls. Some of ye probably remember Sally Miles salt. Sally Miles salt, and you had to color Sally Miles and get one of them little old racers. See, this was doing when there was really a depression. Folks had just eaten ground. The same land was here. They didn't have sense enough to plant it, man. They're as busy bad-mouthing Washington. So anyhow, just as I reached for one of those ripe, luscious tomatoes, here comes some cat in a black Ford and said, plow 'em under. Franklin D. had arrived. Elvis is Russia's #1 enemy. If for no other reason, that would make him my friend. There you go. When Elvis was in Germany, you never heard a peep out of Khrushchev. That's right, he is over here walking around in that Iowa farm, stepping in what he is trying to sell us. But everybody's got a place somewhere, except folks that ain't got no place. And then they just seem to wander around on other folks' place. And I can do a thing for you here that's weird, and this is about this old promoter. And this is really weird, see. This old promoter, he went around and he promoted shows, different types of shows at auditoriums and things like that. You see, this was way back in the buggy days. And this old colonel goes into this little old town, and he puts up a great big sign on the billboard saying, "Watch for it." 2 weeks later, he comes in there and lays another big sign up there. It's coming. It's coming. Then about 2 weeks later, he said, "It'll be here It'll be here Monday the 24th. It'll be here Monday the 24th. Everybody wants to see it. They always have. They've always wanted to see it. And it's going to be here. Monday the 24th. Tickets on sale, blap, blap. Day before the service, man, the place is completely sold out. I mean, just packed. The old colonel's in there, you know, he's getting the money for the tickets of the folks that didn't have the advance sale, you know. And he says to this porter, that's the only crew he's got in the whole great big auditorium. He says, would you mind going back there and pulling up the curtain for me? The show's ready to go on. So he runs back there and pulls up the curtain, and there's another great big sign saying, it's gone. A lot of times folks think because I talk about the fuzz that I don't like them, you know, police. But I've got one thing to say in their defense, even where television makes them look terrible. But I'm talking about the better qualities of police. Yes, did you know that folks never think about calling up the police for them to help you do something? Ain't that weird? Just call up the police station and say, look here, who's calling? I'm sir. Oh, is that it? Yes, and we got a couple of kids, and they go to school in the mornings, and there's a lot of traffic. And we wondered if you boys would mind regular every morning, every afternoon, taking the kids over to school and picking them up and bringing them home. Not at all. Before long, you get great big fuzz wagons. Taking the kinder to school, man, and they can start the class, little children, you know, like kindergarten age. In a great big bus, streamline, you know, with the fuzz in front of them, with sirens going and everything, just wailing through town, man, to their school, and then they wouldn't have to make it till 11 o'clock. And then they could study an hour and come home. Well, anyhow, since I've run into this dimension, and sometime, like I like to think, that Frank Lloyd Wright was great. Old Frank wanted to build a mile-high building in Chicago, in the principle of a fencing fall, with the handle stuck in the ground, see? You know, and set in concrete, and we have atomic elevators and everything. Can you imagine that? He tried to sell it to the Yankees in Chicago when they had an apparent setback. Not a recession or a depression, but an apparent setback. But anyhow, I mean, it don't make no difference because, you see, there was all kind of controversy about the building. It was a mile high. It might fall over and hit the stockyards and kill some of them cattle out there before them folks could take a hammer and hit them in the head. And that would have been tragic. But if Frank had just thought enough to sold that mile-high building to the Southern Baptists in Texas, it'd already be up as a bookstore and a coffee shop and everything. And the Methodists would be coming in playing jazz music. Yeah, I'm swinging, man, all the time. But anyhow, there's Northern Baptists and the Southern Baptists, but there's a difference. The Northern Baptist says, there ain't no hell. Southern Baptist says, a hell ain't. Did you know that I believe cows is sacred? I really do, man. I go along with them Hindus on that. I mean, did you ever just stop to think that a cow gives us milk even though it contributes nothing to its own nourishment? Yes, and then we manifest gratitude by smiting them in the head and devouring their carcass. You know, they say for every cow you kill, you're going to take that long to dwell in that abyss of weird state, not being free and hung up. for as many years as it is hairs on the cow. Now, wouldn't that make folks think a lot of times about slewing a bovine? I mean, there was one cat that they kicked out of karate because he fought bulls, man, and took his hand and said, blap, hit them horns. But you know, life's too long to be bugged. I've only come to say, do that when you can. Let them folks who don't want none have memories of not getting any. Oh, joy to the world. Yes, beloved, let that not be a punishment, but their reward. When they're sitting in that old rocking chair, sitting there, 85-year-old, sitting there just rocking, saying, well, I could've. If you're going to amount to something, now's the time to do it. Somebody said, well, do you want to really accomplish something, Brother Dave? I said, yeah, I want to make it real slow up until I die, and then I want to taper off. Hey, this one cat walked up to the other, and he said, hey, man. He said, where are you going? He said, I isn't going nowhere. He said, can I go with you? Don't you know there's no such thing as nowhere, because when you got there, you would be somewhere? Yet folks pass it off lightly, you know. Says, well, wouldn't it be wild if we taught our children in school to just be poor? Man, they'd work so hard to get away and rebel against us. They'd all get rich. Sure, tell them to get up and go out there and get it. Go out and get what? They say, go get that education, boy. Get that education. Said, they can't take that away from you. Who wants it? I mean, it's easy to become rich. It's a challenge to be poor. I mean, think about that. I mean, you know, coming through poverty is a great stroke, man. I mean, you just come through it just like cutting a board with karate. Now, I went over to Hawaii. How are you? This one cat walked up to the other and he said, hey, man. He said, huh? He said, how do you pronounce this here? Hawaii or Hawaii? He said, Hawaii. He said, thank you. He said, you're welcome. There's some outfits that go along with the idea that you shouldn't even eat eggs or drink milk, you see. Oh, yeah, raw vegetarians. And they figured that that's the answer to everything is vegetarianism, which is a good thought. Bless your heart, that baby rebuked that thought because she knew that milk's wrong. Yes. Now, if you want to really drink, and not really drink at all, but be a pure drinker, then eat yourself 6 pounds of raw carrots. Yes. Chew them up, don't eat anything else. And then wait for 6 weeks for the natural fermentation in your stomach. And you just get so high. You don't believe I said that, do you? I don't either, but it don't make no difference. Now, this is a weird scene, and this is about this preacher, and he's driving along there, seeing his car. And he was driving along, one of those chubby face, you know, with the glasses, happy. And, you know, and when he really gets into his message, he says, and, that's to alert the nodders. But a very cheerful soul. And he was driving along there, and he seen this pickup truck in front of him. And it was weaving, you know, over the line. And he, not being hasty to prejudge any dear soul, said, that fella up there must be ill. Then he says to himself, I better hit that passing gear and get out around this drunk before he runs me off the road. So he steps on his passing gear, and goes out there and hits a little old slick spot, and his car, the preacher's car, just flip over thrice. An old inebriated soul gets up there. Actually, the soul is never inebriated, just the vehicle that houses it. So this stoned housing walked from his pickup truck. You can't hurt him, there ain't no way, you know. Lord protects them. Sometimes that gives some folks reason to think that it's godly to drink. So anyhow, he opens up the door and he looks down there and he says, "You all right, preacher?" "Yes, thank you, the Lord's riding with me." "Well, you better let him ride with me before you kill him." Thank you and God bless you.